Tamara here from Postcat Crafts. Happy New Year wherever you are. I wish you a brilliant 2019. I'm finishing up in this video the landscape album. This will be our last page, and then all we have then left to do would be the front and the back cover, inside and out, and then also the spine. So those will be in the next video after this one. If you've reached this video and you've not seen the previous ones, go back to part 1 and I will put the playlist up there. So you just click on the playlist and it will then take you from part 1 all the way up to this part here so far. But once I've done the last video, it'll have the whole thing on that playlist. So let's get started. I've made up one already. Now, because we need to do the front and the back of our page, I've actually done one already. So you could either use one of the other layouts in the book, or you can do this one again on the other side. So because we have two pages that we put together to create our hidden hinge, which will go in there. So I'm just going to have this exact same page layout onto the other side of our last page. So this is page 6 in our book. Now what I've done, I'll go through it with you. I've just put a oval die cut here, so you can add either photograph or journaling on there, whichever is your choice. And then I've created a little sort of booklet that pops out and you open it up, so you've got room to put some journaling or some pictures if you want to put some very small pictures in there, some keepsakes, and again this you can use the whole of the side. Well, these ones you can as well. You can actually cover that all up if you wanted to. I just wanted to leave it sort of blankish so that it gives you an idea of what we're going to do. Looks a little bit like a plane out like that. And then this just folds up, so you've got this the back side and then also the back side of this. Now what I've done is I've just added a few plain pieces of cardstock that I've put in there. Just again, you don't have to follow this layout. If you want to, by all means please do, and you know, that's perfectly fine. If you're sort of starting out and you just want some ideas, that's brilliant. But what I would ask, if you share your makes on Facebook or any of the social medias, if you just put a link to, or just say, you know, where you've found your layouts and things, that would be brilliant. So how I've actually got our little booklet secured in. I was going to make a sort of a pocket to put on the front, but I thought, oh, I like the idea, but I wanted something a little different. So I found this elasticated cord, and which is, I got a big roll of it. This is the one that I've got. I just searched elasticated cord and lots came up. So I've got this in black and in white as well. It comes in a big reel like this. So I've used quite a bit of that, and it's still got loads on there left. So what I've done is I've then attached it with an eyelet onto the back. If you can see, there's the eyelet on the back. And then this side, this is just a charm that I found, and I don't know where I got these charms from. I do apologise. They've been in my stash for quite a while, so I've no hope of remembering where I got it from. But if you've got a hole in any of your charms, then you can then stick a bad through, and then that will work just as well. I've just found some more that I've got in my stash. I've got a crown and a little flower one, just to add that little bit of interest there. So if you've got any charms, then you know that will fit a brad, then use them. So this actually does come off. Okay, you don't need to, but it just adds another sort of feature. And you could put something on the back that's hidden as well. That would give you some, you know, somewhere else to put a photograph or journaling. And on these as well, you could make them into one full square if you wanted. I just liked the look of them being different, so that's why I've sort of gone for it that way. So the die sets that I've used are the Memory Book 2 dies, which is what we've made the album with. And then we'll also be using this here. I used this Cascading Card Creator, which is this die set here. Okay, and I've repurposed that to make our little booklet. It makes like a cascading card, but as you know, I do like to repurpose most of my dies into my memory books. Okay, there's lots of different embellishments and die cuts that you can use in there. Lots of different configurations that you could use on here. You could, on the front, you could maybe have the cutout, the verso cutouts as a decorative feature on there. Again, this gives you such a big possibility. I've just noticed here there's some little flowers as well, so you might get them flowers out and use them. So I really like flowers, and those hearts are quite nice as well. So, you know, have a look at your dies, what you've got in your stash, and see if you can repurpose them to put into your memory book making. So that's one set that we're going to use to create that. Now this one here, the oval, I haven't actually got a small enough layering die that will fit, that I wanted to would fit into there. So I again had a look at my dies, and I had another one from Tonic, and this is the Shadowbox Creation die set. Now I have used this in different projects in the past as well, and I use these ovals. As you can see, I've not put them back again. So these, like, you've got ovals, sort of your rectangles in two different types. So one's with the corners cut out, and one's with the corners sort of at an angle. So I use the two ovals to create my little focal point here. But as I was looking at these, I did wonder, so these are, I think, like hanging clips that you put onto the back of your shadow box to hang it on the wall. I presume that's what they're for. And I've just noticed, I wonder if we could maybe, you could purpose them to make sort of a closure. So you'd put your brad in there and then use them as like a stopper sort of thing. So that's another way you could use that. There's two of those in there, I think. Yes, and there's another one. Another good thing that you can use to secure your projects or your pages in place is, I don't actually know what they're called in the craft word, but they're what you use on the back of a photo frame. You know, the little clips that you get on the back. They're these, the little tiny clips that hold your back piece in, like that. They hold the back piece in. Well, I just put a brad in there and then, you know, move that into place, and then that would hold my page. So that's another idea for you. We've cut out our pages already, but in case you, and save you going back to the first video if you followed this series, we use the second to biggest page die to cut out our pages. And if I can get it out, I think it may be this one. Yes. Is it that one? No, that's too big. It's this one here. Too small, so it's this one here. So I use this die, the second to biggest page die. When I say the page die, what I mean is the die that's got the the little bobbles on. This gives you your faux stitching effect around the edge. Okay, so that's I used that. And then what I've done is I then cut off the top part, because our dies have only got 3 cutting edges. This is a non-cutting edge, and that then is for you to be able to cut off to make, just to give you an extra lip for when you're putting your book together into the spine. So what I've tended to do is I've just cut it off about 1/8 of an inch for my pages anyway, 1/8 of an inch, which is measuring from the dotted line from your faux stitching upwards. So 1/8 of an inch there, I've just cut off and then chopped that bit off. Okay, so that's how we get the page. So then to get our depression out of the page, I then use something called an envelope punch board, which is this thing here. You can get them readily on different websites. If you just type in envelope punch board, it's by We Are Memory Keepers, I'm sure it will come up. And then what I did for my measurements of that is, because this is now the landscape one, we need to measure from this point here. Okay, so we measured from that point there along, and then we need to punch at 1 7/8. So you line it up then to 1 7/8 and then punch down. We just flip it over, and then this point here we measure again 1 7/8, punch down, and then here you will have this will be sort of cut out. So what you'll need to then do is just take your knife and then just chop off that bit. Okay, but that is for people that have already watched the videos. It's just to give you a recap. To go a bit more in depth, go back to part 1 and it shows you a bit more in depth on you know, how we go about doing that. So once you've then cut that out, you then need to cut your pattern paper. Now the pattern paper die, which was, it's then the layer die for that page, and I had it out ready. So let me put these away. So this then is the layer for our die. So this one is our page, and then the layer die that goes on top. We need to cut, well, you'll need to cut 2 out, 1 for each side, but I'm just going to cut the 1 out because I've already done one of my pages. So if you cut 2 of those out, and when we come back we'll go through how we then cut out the depression for our pattern paper. I will just have to state that, so for full disclosure, these videos are solely my own. I don't get paid for them by Tonic or any other companies that I may mention. They are just the companies that I like to use, and you know, I've got other companies as well that I will be putting into my videos at a later stage. The memory book dies, the 2 I did get free from Tonic, as I am on their design team for memory books, so I did get them for free, and I sort of made up then memory books that were on the television last year. So just to give full disclosure on that. Okay, so then that is our page cut out. If you've got directional paper, make sure that you cut it out so that it's sort of the correct way for your memory book. So I've got, so my memory book is landscape, so I didn't want my paper, see, my paper would probably be that way. I don't think it matters too much with this, but if you look on the back, if I then if I turn it over, if I chop out this part, my paper's going to be upside down. So just double check that you cut on the right edge. And what's the saying? Measure twice and cut once. So then for this pattern, to cut our depression out of this one, we need to punch at 1.5. So again, we're measuring from the corner, 1.5, and then flip it over and then chop again at 1.5. Not chop, punch. Okay. So that then is what we're left with. Okay. So it's a little bit, it's like a W type effect. Okay, and this is the part we're going to cut this part off here. Okay, so you'll need a cutting mat and a craft knife and a metal ruler. Now how I do it, I tend to butt my ruler up to this bottom dip and just push it up so that it is level, and then I just cut that little bit away. Okay, so you're sort of left with that. I just need to maybe cut just a tiny bit more off of that. There we go. So that then is our depression, and then that fits perfectly on there. Okay, you see that? Excuse this scruffy cutting mat. It's just the right size, but it has had some use. Well loved. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. Now, if you're inking your edges, don't forget to ink them. I'm going to do that now because that's what I've just remembered. So that then is our page, sort of base finished. So this is how it will sit. So it will sit like that. So that then is one side, and then we'll turn over and that's the other. Okay, and then this will be hidden. Now, one of these dies has got a cutting edge at the top, so that there, that one, and that one there, they cut into your paper. Okay, that's one side. On the other die cut, they cut at the bottom, so you've got a die cut there, a die cut there, you've got a cutting edge, a cutting edge, a cutting edge, and cutting edge, so they cut out. Okay, the ones that have just got a little bump, they are the embossing lines, so they don't cut. And the reason for that is because as it cascades, it fits into each other, but because we're not using it that way, it doesn't make too much of a difference. But your craft card, well, mine certainly has got two different colour sides. Now it is very slight, but you can notice it if you put them together. Okay, and you see this one is like a browny colour, and then this one is more like a yellowy brown. Okay, you can see the difference in that. So if you, like me, and you want it to be uniformed, like I have in my page that I now can't find. There we go. So as you can see, mine is a bit uniformed, a bit more, so I've got the colour, the same colour coming through on both sides. So you need to decide which side you like and try and stick to that. I like the more yellowy side, so I'm going to use that as my top. So what we then do is I'm just going to cut that bit off, like so. Now the other side we need to cut with our wrong side facing down. Okay, so one side is your cardstock facing the right way, the way you want it, and then the next one you want your to cut in to the wrong side, if you can see what I mean. So it's just reverse. So one side is your yellow browny colour, and then the other side is your sort of your more browner colour. Now that one, because I didn't tape mine down, I've cut the top part of this off, but that's not going to make too much difference because we're going to trim this bit off anyway. Okay, so you need your trusty trimmer, and what we're doing is we're going to cut two of them off. So the two longest or the tallest ones we're going to cut off. Okay, so let's get it that way. So make sure you use the bottom line as your guide, so you'll get a straight cut. And then what I did is I just folded it slightly just so that I could see where I needed to trim off. So that's the one. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 4, 5, you've got 6 sort of little columns. Do the same on the other die cut. Cut that bit out. Like so. Right, now we need to assemble. So what we can do, or you can stop the video and you can do it, is we just need to pop out all the die, the sort of little tiny bits that we don't need. Like so. Okay, so so you should have then 2 sides that are exactly the same colour either side. Okay, and then what we do is, because this has got like a die cut, like a slot at the bottom, and then this one is at the top, we're just going to slot them in and push them down, and then that then creates, so then you can stick them together. Now then what I do is I'm just going to cut off this part here. So this sort of little doily top, I'm just going to cut that bit off, and do the same with the other side. So make sure it's the one at the bottom and not the one at the top. So I'm going to cut off that doily, just that one, okay, don't cut any more off. And then that's then the back. So when you come to the front, you're not going to see the extra doilies sort of poking through at the back. Now I glue them down. You don't have to. but I think it's a good, yes, you do have to actually. You do need to glue them down. Right, so let's get my glue. So you just glue on one of the sides, like so. And stick down. So make sure it's level. And then do the other side. Might be a little bit tricky, but you can sort of do it if you sort of just push them apart. There we go. So then stick. Okay, so that then is our basis of our little book. Now what we need, we're going to need a bone folder. So we're just going to push them over now. Now they have got a natural score line, but just to reinforce that score line, just go over with your bone folder, just so that it creates a really nice crease. The same on the other side. Now if you wanted to, you could fold each one, but I quite like two together, so I'm just going to fold two together, so I've got mine like that. So that then creates your little book. Right, we're going to put our layers onto our little pull-out booklet. On the other page that I did, I used the straight edged die, the layer dies. So on this one I'm going to use the scalloped edge. Sorry if you can hear a bit of scratching in the background, it's my dog. I've got their baskets underneath my desk, and she tends to like to get actually into her blanket instead of laying on top. So that's what she's doing at the minute. Silly mutt. Anyway, so yes, so we're going to do those. Now we'll need, these are the ones that you'll need out of that die set. You'll need this, the third one from the largest down, so it's the third one down. That one then fits there. So then we miss one, and then we go for the next one after that, because the one that we're missing is this one that we've glued on the back. Okay, so that's there. So then we miss one, so then it's the next size down, so that then will fit that way, and then that way, and then that way, and that way, and that way. So what you're going to have to do, we're going to leave the top two until last, so we'll do this side first. So what we need to do with this side, with our right side, is we need to cut our paper on the side that you don't want, because it's going to be reversed. Whatever colour you want on that to show is the side that you want to cut facing up towards your die cut, I think. Anyway, I'll have to do it and then show you. So I've chose this colour. So this is the one that I want showing. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn it over and cut into this side, in theory anyway. So hopefully it'll work. We'll give it a go, and let's find out. So I'm just going to get it ready. So we're going to do those two in a moment. So I want to cut into this side. So we're going to go like so, and I'm going to do that one in. So those two are going to be here, and then we'll need another paper for that side, and I've got some other blue here, so we could just do blue and blue, and we'll want that. So I'm going to have that side. So we'll cut into the blue and cut into the blue. Okay, let's fingers crossed that this works. Okay, you may need to secure them down. I'm going to regret not doing that, I know. But let's just see if we got what I said right. I do need to get a new board. Okay, right, so this is going to go, so I want this blue to show, so that's right, and then I want that side to show there, so yes, we got that perfectly right, apart from that one's a bit shorter, so I will need to cut that one once more, and I will tape down. So that's then for that side. So you could go ahead now and oh, I'm a dilly. No, that's right. Okay, so you could go ahead and glue those ones down if you wanted to. So this one goes on there. I'm going to have that lovely lady. And then this one will have the flowers, I think would look nice. And I'll just... Right, let's cut these. So then they fit, one there, oh I like that, one there, and that goes there, and that goes there. Oh, excuse me. And then on this side. So if you're inking your edges, do you want to go ahead and ink them now? You can go ahead and now start gluing them on. So we are going to glue. I think I've got these right. Okay, and that there. So that then is the start of our book. As such, we've got to do the back, but I thought we'd do these two here. So you need the die that you got out that was the third from biggest, from largest, and then pick your what paper you're going to use. Now, I may use this one again because I quite like that, but I might just use the ladies. I think I'll use so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it there and there. So that So the side that I don't want, so I want this one this side, so I want her, so she's going to be there. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get, because these two ladies are sort of standing together, I'm going to try and get them so that you know, they correspond with each other. So let's hopefully have a go and see if I can achieve that. So we've got one cut out, so that's brilliant. Just take that off. So that it goes on that side. Then I want this side cut out, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and, there we go. Well, I'm trying to line it up so that I'm near enough in line, and hope that doesn't move. So I'm going to stick that on there. Right, fingers crossed. Moment of truth. I'm hoping. Right, that's good. Yes, very nearly. Yes, that's perfect. So just what you need. So that's, I'm really pleased with that. Let me just move these out of the way and I can show you what I've done. So hopefully you can see I've sort of lined these up so that it looks like the two ladies are together, which they are in on the paper. So I've just reused that. So if I come down a little bit, don't come down too far, too quickly. There we go. So that's then the middle one. There we are. So then that'll close like that, and then we can work on the back. Right, so ink these and then stick them in, and then we'll move on to the back. Let's work on this side. So we are going, I'm just going to use all my scrap paper up, I think, for this, although no, I think I might, no, I'm going to stick with what I was doing. So I'm going to work on this side, and again this is the wrong side. So let's work on that. Oh, it's a bit better than that other one. Right, so we want, so that would do if I cut into that, so I want that to go there. That's right, because I want the other side, so that's that one. Let's get that out. So that one's first. There. Oops. And then this one. So that's two. And then let's have that and that. Okay, let's cut them out. So all I've done is I've just turned them over so that we get the other side. I don't think I've got enough paper of that. No. Not to worry, I can use that. So I want that to show, and that one. Will that just fit on there? I'm running out of paper, so let's fit that on there, and let's try that one there. Hopefully that is just given me enough of enough space. So let's try this again. Right, let's try these now. Okay, that fits there, so that's perfect. That fits there, that's perfect. That fits on that side, so that's okay. That's next to it, that's brilliant. Then this last one, and that one, and then these last two, which I think went that way and that way. There, oh, that was brilliant. It took me ages to work that out. So yeah, so we've managed to get them all correct. It was once you've done it a few times, it will get easier. I think it's because my brain doesn't work that way, so I was struggling to which side I wanted, which side I didn't to show. So it was a bit of challenging that. So hopefully you won't find it as challenging as I did, but we got there in the end. Now you could, on this one, you could maybe put the back as plain paper or plain cardstock, which is I think I may do actually, because I want to cover up the parts that I've cut off. I don't really want to see that bit of workings there, but that is easily done. Because this whole book, it's going to come out like a little booklet, so that it's going to sort of stand up a bit like, I don't know if you've seen those old fashioned dressing table mirrors, that you had one big mirror in the middle and then two, you know, it folded out. Right, I do apologise for that. I forgot to unzoom. So I've probably gone through lots and lots of talk and you've not been able to see. So I do apologise. Hopefully I haven't gone too far. I think it's getting back into the swing of these doing these tutorials. Okay, so all we've done is we've cut out the exactly same as what we did on the front side of our little cascading booklet, and now we've just done the same, so we're now just sticking those on and getting it ready then to put onto our page. There we are. These do look really pretty, I will say. I really like this die set. There we go. Okay, and then for the top for these two, I'm just going to cut out some cream cardstock so that you've got some journaling space on there. And then that then is what it's going to look like. So it sort of sits like that. But you can pull it out so you've got space to put, you know, some photographs, some little tiny, maybe some ticket stubs if you've got some tickets of a favourite game that you've been to, or concert, anything that you know you want to remember. So let's work on those. So we need then the biggest die that we said, so that's the third biggest, and then that will fit just on there. But I'm just going to do this in cream cardstock so that it just gives you a point to journal onto. So I'll cut that out and be right back. Again, what did I not do? Take two. There we are. So then these will go onto our back panel. I'm not going to edge these in our distress ink because I want to keep these as pristine white or cream as we can. Oh, I needed to do it that way. Take three. Take three. Okay, I need to glue on the right side. There we go. So then that is that part of our page done. Okay, so we've got all our pattern paper on the front and also on the back, and then when you close it, you it sort of closes like that, then opens out as a concertina. Right, I found our album page, the one that we're working on. So this is the one that we've done. This is the back part of our page because we stick two together, so that gives us then a base to put our hinge in, which goes in there when we come to assemble our album. So we're just working on this one. We've done this one, so put that one to the side, but this is what we're actually aiming for. Okay, something like this. Now it is quite plain, but I quite like that because this is your main focal point here. You could put on a few flowers if you wanted to, fit a bit more embellishment, some more ribbon, some bows. You know, you can embellish it however you want, and then this just pops out. You could even put you know, some plain cardstock behind it, maybe put a stamp on it with a secret message or something like that, which can go in there. Now the only reason I've put this circle on is I had a bit of an accident with this. What had happened, I used a brad that was ginormous, and it was actually these from Graphic 45, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll be able to do that. So I used one of these, not realising that the brad is quite, the legs of the brad is, they're quite far apart. So I thought, right, okay, that doesn't matter, I can put it in and then I can get my elastic around it. No, I couldn't. But by that time I'd made that massive hole in my book. So I thought, well, that means I'm going to have to redo the whole page, and I didn't want to, so I thought, right, I'll put something over the top. So I put a circle on the top, and then on the back, just to give it a bit more stability, I just put a scrap piece of card. Right, we're going to come on to our other page now. Now, we cut it out earlier and I've just stuck it onto our card. Okay, so stuck it onto our base card because it's going to fit like so. Alright, so put the other part of your page to the side because we're not going to use that at the moment, and we're going to work on this one. Now please excuse the noise that you may hear in the background, it's just my daughter's just doing some drying. Right, I was just looking for my ruler. That's it, I've got it. So, you need to work out whereabouts you want to put your mini book. So, I'm going to actually have mine probably here, like so, so that it opens out that way. But saying that, I can't have it too much this side because this here is going to be your spine, and you don't want this to. We're saying that, no, you can, because it takes it, you bring it out, so ignore that. I don't know where my mind is today. It's certainly not here. Right, so I'm going to have mine this side, and then my other one is that side. Okay, so it's opposite sides of your page. So I have tried to get it so that the bottom of your pull-out little mini book is virtually on the edge of your paper, because you don't want it sticking up too much. So that's about as much as I could get it. Now you could have it a bit further over if you wanted, sort of this side, but you don't want to go too far where this cutout corner is. Okay, so I'm going to have mine about there. So I'm just going to make a initial dot just so that I know where it's going to go, like that. Now I'm going to measure up. Now I measured mine in centimeters for some unknown reason. I don't know why I did that. So it's about 5 centimeters, which is roughly about, what did we say? If we said 1 3/4 of an inch, that should be fine. So 1 3/4 of an inch. So no, let's make it 1.5. So 1.5 inches from your bottom of your pattern paper to the top there. Okay, so that's 1 mark, and then we're just going to put this in again. and then I'm just going to pie it, and I'll make another dot, so I'm going to have it about here, so probably about 1/4 of an inch from your book to your mark. Okay, and then measure from the bottom again, 1.5 inches. So come down, so it's about there, so it's about, let's go up, okay, 1.5 inches there. Okay, so if you've got you want to just rub out those extras marks, you can. And I can never seem to find a rubber when I need one, but it doesn't matter because you're not going to see them. Now you'll need a crocodile for this, or a hole punch that you can reach into. I use these because I set my eyelets with this as well. So an eyelet setter, if you've got one. As I say, I've got quite a few. I've got the crocodile, and I've got the first ones that I have, which are the spring ones, where you pull them up and down, and the force of that, the spring, knocks your paper out. So you know, they're good if you can't get too you know, if they're in the middle of your page, sort of like, that's quite good for that. So anyway, so crocodile. So I'm using the biggest setting, the biggest hole. So find your mark that you've made and just chomp in the middle. Okay, so you've made that sort of hole. You then need your elasticated cord and double it over, so you don't want to waste too much. So again, just by eye. Okay, and then what I'll do is I will put the elasticated cord through my hole before you put your eyelet in, and I'll just then get the correct measurement. So I'll put my book in and pull that across there. See, that's far too much, so I'm going to pull it in a bit more, like so. You want it so that you've got a bit of a stretch, so that, you know, it does keep it in place. So that's possibly about the right size for me. So when you put your before you put your eyelet in, you need to pull your cord so that it's quite taut against the side where your cord is coming out. So if you can see there, that's the hole there, and I've pulled it sort of this way towards my right hand side, so pulled it quite taut there. Okay, and then you'll need to put your eyelet in. So I'm just going to go for a copper one, I think. No, I won't. I'll go just for a plain one. No, that's not the one I want. There we go. There we are. I'll go for the antique bronze one. And then what you do is you push. You're going to have to just wiggle it in so that the eyelet has caught the cord, and that then is going to be your stopper. Okay, that sort of secures your cord in place. And then you just need to chomp down on the eyeletter. I'll just change that for the smaller one, and then chomp down. Okay, doesn't seem to work. Why is it that it's not working? It seems to work, and then I think I might need another one. Right, let's try that again. Let's chomp down. There, that's better. There we go. So then that then is it's secured, okay, on one side. So this side we're just going to punch a hole because that is what we're going to use, just our brad and our charm. And now I did have them, but I don't know what I've done with them now. Bear with. Oh, right, we'll use these ones. Right. These have come from one of the GP stores here in the UK. And you've got, these are just heart embellishments, or heart and butterflies. And they were very inexpensive, $4.15. Every time I go into that shop I tend to pick up something or another. So I'm just going to use the hearts. And there we go, I think, no. So you've got a choice. You can either have them where they've got writing on, or there's plain on one side. So it's really up to you what you would like. I think I might go for the plain. I quite like the plain. And then of course you'll need a brad. Okay, right. And then we need a pokey tool. Somewhere in my box of tricks I have a pokey tool. Okay, and then just poke your hole. Please be careful when you're doing this, don't stab yourself in the finger. As you might have told, that's happened to me before. Put your brad through and secure, like so. And then that then is your closure. Okay, so that then is closed and ready for action, as they say. Put your book in, and there we have it. Another little book that is finished. We've got this to do now. We can do our oval, and then we'd have finished all the pages, which will be brilliant. And I've got a lot of editing to do on this video, I will say. Now what you may want to do is put a scrap of card just across these, so that when you put your tag in, because this will be open, so you'll have a tag inside, so when you put your tag in, it doesn't catch on these components here. So you may just want to do that. So you can just, you know, cut a piece of card and then glue it on, and that will hide that. So we're going to move on to the oval and cut that out. And this is where we use the other die set that I have, which is the shadow box. So I might have a bit more space this side, so I could actually, I'm going to try and go for a different one. So in the shadow box you've got sort of rectangles with a straight diagonal corner, and then you've got the rectangles with the inverted corner cut out. So I'm just going to use the ones that are cut out, because obviously that's the same as my book, and it's just to make it a little bit different from the page over the other side. So we're going to use that one. I'm going to cut the biggest one out of Kraft Card, and then the next size out of our plain card, so that it gives us some space to write our little memoirs. Just have a tidy. So that one goes on there. And then you can just use some scrap card if you have it. Just a scrap piece of Kraft Card if you've got one. I've got loads. I tend to keep all my scrap pieces of card. They don't tend to... so that is then the card. So we're going to just stick them together like that. Stick them on. And in, there we go. So then that's that card finished. This page is now done and dusted, it's finished. We need to stick them together, but what we're going to do is we're only going to stick them on two sides. So you want to put some glue along the bottom and some along the right hand side. Leave this side and obviously the top bit open, because this part here is where your hinge goes, and this is where the tag is going to go that we're going to put in later. So just glue along, following the curve of your paper. Now I don't glue this part at the top, because if you do, it then cuts down the width that you have to put your tag in. So I only glue up to the bottom of the inverted curve of the edge there, of the corner, sorry. So then we need to just put them together, line them up, and I'm just going to use some binder clips just to help with the initial stick. So that's 1, 2, 3, there we go, we're getting there slowly but surely. You won't need to keep this on very long, it is quite strong setting glue. It does give you a tiny bit of time to wiggle, but not too much. There we go. So that then is our page finished. So that's our 6 pages now done. We in the next video, because I'm not going to do any more on this one, otherwise it's going to be far too long. In the next video we'll work on the inside and the 2 inside parts to our covers, so the front and the back. Okay, so if you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and that would be brilliant. It's or comment even. I love to read your comments. I do try and answer everyone, you know, time permitting. And so, you know, if you need any questions, if you've got any questions, then please do ask. Come along and follow me on social media. I'm quite active on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, so any of those. Ask any questions if you've got them. If you subscribe, please remember to hit the little bell that's up in the corner there, because that's the notification bell, and that's so whenever I upload any videos, you will get an email to say that I've uploaded, so that you know when I've uploaded new videos. So if you're waiting for a particular video, that's the way to go. So thanks again for watching. As always, your support means the world to me, and welcome to all the brand new followers I have, and hello to all my oldies. You know, nice to have you here with us. Anything else? Nope, I think that's about it. Right, so with that being said, I'm going to love and leave you, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.